Alright, happy Monday morning to you all. Very sunny out here, very bright. It's hurting my eyes. Getting used to the dark and the clouds and weather. It's chilly out here this morning. We had down to about 40 this morning here in Katy, and we're playing that temperature roller coaster ride, but it's supposed to be pretty nice most of this week. 89% humidity, light wind. See how that works out on the road. Yeah, it's going to be a nice week. Sunny pretty much every day, I think. We had a chance of rain later in the week, but you never know how that shapes up. You can never predict Houston weather. It's changes by the hour pretty much. You have no chance of rain in the morning. You get to work and it's raining. Wait a minute. What was that forecast? Okay, well, I'm off. I'm going down to the Galleria area. I've got a breakfast meetup and then headed off to a client site. And that mirror is getting really smarmy. It's getting spotted. I think the coating is finally starting to come off of it. It's old. It's probably going on 10 years old now. Trash hasn't made it yet. Check the fuel. Yep, almost full. I haven't ridden this one in almost 2 weeks. I have no idea what to talk about today. Not a clue. Not a clue. We'll just see what happens. I left this sitting out. I've only got two hands, dude. I can't wave and drive. I let it sit out in the rain all last week because there's no more room in my garage. We got all the furniture and junk in there from remodeling the bathroom. I should have gone. We need to get all of the extra crud out of there so I can put a couple of my bikes back in. All the bikes are sitting out on the driveway right now, except for the PCX and the ones that are torn apart. They're in the garage. Everything else is sitting outside or at my warehouse. I think it's chilly this morning. I can feel that 46 degrees. My knees are cold. So yeah, I left this thing sitting out in the rain, and it was all schmarmed up, pollen and mud and God knows what all over it. Pollen has been off the charts lately. I haven't taken the little picture of the allergy forecast thing. Maybe I'll do that later. Throw it up here. It's like a scale from 0 to 12, and it's been sitting at about a 10 for the last. You got to stop, asshole? It's been sitting at a 10 for the last 2 weeks. I'm sure that's what kicked off all of our sinus bugs that we've had. My youngest daughter is home for spring break this week, and she's running a fever the last few days. So she's got whatever it is that we had. I don't know if it's viral or allergy or bacterial. I'm assuming it's viral because we're all getting it with about a 7 or 8 day separation, so there's a gestation period for this bug, whatever it is. This is road trip weather, man. I am so ready to get out on the road. Oh my god, I'm just stir crazy. Being sick for so long and not doing any road trips, or not nearly as much riding as I normally do. Oh, I'm ready to get on the road. I was getting so depressed, just worn out, tired. No anima, no energy, nothing, from both major factors, being sick and not riding. I had to force myself to get out and ride, and suddenly I felt so much better. Just get some wind therapy. Makes a huge difference in my mental state. So Cannonball Speedway is coming up this weekend. I need to confer with Neil. I missed a call from Neil. I think it was Friday or Saturday, I think. I was in traffic and I didn't see my phone go off. So he's probably calling me to see if I'm up for this coming weekend. We can coordinate travel plans, get out there to Page, Texas, to the Cannonball Speedway for the World of Outlaws weekend. I'm thinking about getting a Starlink for Cannonball, so I might get that early, and if it can be delivered in the next few days, I might go ahead and get that, take it with me, do a little field test, be able to live stream and play around with that and see how it plays out in the wild. I guess it doesn't have to be this week. I could get the Starlink, you know, over the next month or so, but I've got several road trips coming up, so I need to play with that gear and figure out what I need for accompanying parts, you know, power supplies, mounts, things like that, so I can use it mobile on the bike or scoot or whatever I happen to be riding. Probably take some solar panels. I've got a couple of 40-watt foldables. What is it? A 27, a 28, and a couple of others. Goal Zero, and I think they would power it up okay. I'm not sure what the consumption of the Mini is. I looked at the specs and it looked like it ran on about 40 watts, so as long as I've got a charged up power supply or a car or, you know, something, I should be able to run it for an hour or so, I would guess, hour or two, depends on how big my battery is, of course, but I wouldn't run it straight off of these lithium batteries on the bikes without running the bike, because these things don't have real high amp hour capacity. They typically have a little bit less than a SLA battery. More cranking amps, and they charge faster, but they don't have as much capacity. Well, we got traffic, don't we? Alright. You're stopping back here. Empty road for 1/8 of a mile, dude. I don't know why you're stopping way back here. Just bracketing the lane. The building's very freshly renovated and very empty. Lived in these apartments a long time ago, 25 plus years ago, and I parked right down there at the end of that line. I lived there for about 9 months. 9 months, not quite a year. I took over a buddy of mine's lease, guy that I worked with. He had to move to San Marcos or something like that, kind of suddenly, and asked if I needed an apartment down here, because I was commuting back and forth from Austin every day, pretty much. And I said, yeah, sure, I'll take it over. So I lived there for a little while, and then I got a different place. I bought a house over in Afton Oaks area. All right. Okay. I'm here. Sweet Paris. Time for some breakfast. And then work. Pay for my breakfast. Alright, breakfast was good. Just about the right amount of food. I'm not overstuffed. Feeling pretty good. And now it's time to work. It's 10:45. Pretty late in the morning already. I didn't get out of my house until, you know, whatever it was. Trying to think of the best way to get over there. So just take Richmond. I hate Westheimer. Going through that section of Westheimer is just awful. gonna lose the door on that car. It's just open in traffic, and it's a black door without much contrast. In a shadow, no less. I'm just gonna come ripping through here and tear that thing off. This intersection is always under construction. It has been under construction for the last, 20 years. I mean, I don't think there's a time in 20 years it hasn't been under construction. It's crazy. I lived right over here in that neighborhood, just on the other side of the corner, back over here to my left. Afton Oaks. It was under construction when I moved here back in 96? Almost 30 years. All right, welcome back to the day. It is oh, hey, you better really stay out of gear. This thing has jumped in gear on me before when it was like right in the middle and lopped over on its side. And I just noticed that my bark busters is all rusty after this last stint sitting out in the rain. So I need to pull them off, and I'll paint this stuff anyway and replace these nasty grips. Yeah, a couple of little maintenance items I got to do on this now. The rain, she's not friendly, but I ride in the rain too, so my bikes are not trailer queens. They get used, man. Used. Anyway, we spent the day here redoing audio video. Their video production booth has a couple of older BlackMagic Design HyperDecks, 4K video recorders that record off the mixing board, and one of them is just misbehaving. It's bad. It's doing some weird stuff, corrupting video files. They got two, so you know, all their live feeds are backed up, obviously. But anyway, one of them is misbehaving, and they've lost faith in both of them, so we are replacing them with newer models. The problem is the new models don't have this thing doesn't close on me. The new models don't have audio inputs on them. The old ones had XLR output loops, but the new ones do not, and that leaves us with kind of a workflow problem, because their front of house mixing board, you know, audio booth, all that, is in a totally different room up at the front near the stage, and the only thing coming back to the video booth is just a pair of unbalanced line level coming back, and then that's put into amplifier, delay box, splitter, all kinds of stuff. So we had to shop around. I talked to BlackMagic, asking them what their recommendations and their blessing is on converting line level audio XLR over to SDI, so we can bring SDI signals straight into the box. I mean, I could get I could have gone the HDMI route, but I'd have to have an HDMI audio combiner. It would be another mini converter or something like that. So yeah, anyway, looked at a couple of different options. The two pieces that fit the workflow are the Starlink Mini audio to SDI 12 gig, and that's an expensive little puppy. It's like $550, and nobody has them in stock. It's going to be, you know, 5 or 6 days to get them, and I need a pair of them, one for each direct to, you know, each HyperDeck, or go the mini converter route, which is audio to SDI 4K, and They're not XLR, they're just phono plug, but that's all right. I'll use some converters to go from XLR to 1/4 inch plug. So anyway, that's what we did. Ordered a couple of those. They should be here tomorrow morning. Come back over here, put that stuff in, verify we're getting audio embedded and recorded on the HyperDecks, so they don't have to change their workflows. They really need to upgrade their whole stack. Their stack is just a mess. They've been towing a legacy train behind them forever, all analog and just kind of goofy setup. So they've got multiple stages of digital down to analog and analog back to digital and all that. They just need to nuke it, get rid of all that stuff. We need to go full digital. I might even try to convert them over to the newer SMPTE stuff, video over IP. I don't know, we'll look. We definitely need to get a better video board, mixing board, because the system that they've got right now is an old Roland V800, and it only does video. It doesn't do any audio mixing. It doesn't blend audio into the SDI feeds at all. So they're already kind of a BlackMagic house, so it only makes sense to put an ATEM in there, get them an ATEM ISO, start running all the workflows as digital, and then that also gives them a streaming encoder, which they're doing a really hard way right now. They're taking DVI out of the mixing board and audio out of the mixing board, or out off of another amplifier, and bringing those into an HDMI to analog converter that then sends the stuff over to a recording PC that then takes it from analog back to digital. Like, what are you doing? I mean, I guess that was the only way they could solve their problem a while back, but so many extra steps that shouldn't be there. So if they put a new video mixing board in there, it would remove all the analog to digital, digital to analog, all the extra conversions for no reason at all, and simplify a lot of stuff. And then we can feed SDI from their front of house, you know, just convert their mixing board, put a audio converter up there, and then everything is all digital, and we can route it wherever we want. They're talking about doing video over IP anyway, asking me for solutions on that, so they can feed classrooms and other parts of the campus. So I was looking at NDI5 stuff, bird dogs. So we could either do NDI5 or go is it the IP2112 format. Figure it out. Anyway, that's shop talk. The weather is really nice. 69 degrees out here, good number. Pretty dry. Still kind of windy, gusty, but feels good. Ooh, nice trash pile. That's one discipline that I've never been deep in professionally, is AV engineering. I've done quite a bit of it, you know, just dabbled, and of course I do it for myself for the video production on the YouTube stuff, but most of what I do is on the NLE side of things, you know, post-production, nonlinear editing. The live production and broadcast stuff is a little different, and the equipment set is different and rather expensive. You got to get into 4K SDI switchers and matrix processors and all kinds of crazy stuff. So it gets a little bit expensive to do that. If you can shift the workflow straight to digital early in the stream, then you can record with whatever you want. You know, you can record with a computer as long as you've got fast storage, then it's not a problem. And then they end up, you know, working with a lot of this stuff after the fact in post anyway. So, but the live production stuff for real-time services, you've got to have. Man, there's a dick in me. Of course, I got cars right up my ass. This guy can't figure out what he's doing. Shred it. Learn how to drive it, dude. He's holding up the fast lane all that time and then changes lanes over the top of people when they're trying to get past it. Yeah, I've set up a couple of fairly elaborate AV systems in the last, let's say, 10 years. I've done, what, 5 ground up installs and then a handful more retrofits, kind of like this one. The retrofits are always such a pain because you got to figure out what's in there, you know, what kind of cabling you've got, what kind of equipment, what the overall health and age of everything is, and then figure out what you can interface with it. God damn, fucking dickhead, pay attention. I have somebody right up my ass gonna squash me because that guy is nailing his brakes in front of me. So the retrofits are just, they're kind of painful. As long as they've got a budget, you know, you can go in there and rip out some stuff and rework their workflows a little bit, depending on the skill of their users. New installs are always easy because you pick exactly the gear that you need to accomplish the task and then train the people to use it. The last one I did was probably 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Another BlackMagic shop. You know, we had a bunch of BlackMagic recorders, a handful of transcoders and switchers and everything, just set it all up. It's nice because if they're using that for their NLE flow after the fact, then all of it lives in DaVinci Resolve pretty much. You know, all the tool sets talk to each other and they've got the back-end components, all the codecs match, you got, you know, time coding, everything just lines right up. It's so nice, so easy. I always thought it would be fun to work in live broadcast. Kind of learn that discipline because I'm a gear junkie. I love gadgets and equipment and tech and all that. Playing with the cameras and tally lights and all the wireless transceivers and all that kind of stuff. I find that fascinating. It's expensive though. God, it's expensive. I'd much rather use someone else's money and set it up. That's why I got into networking 30 plus years ago. I was in software engineering for a while, you know, computer science major. So I was in the coding side of things and realized, no, I'm way too detail oriented for that. And it was a black hole. It just consumed my life. So I wanted to switch over to the hardware, you know, play with the expensive pieces of gear that I would never buy for myself, you know, $1 million switches and routers and, you know, building blocks. A lot more fun. Besides, that's nuts and bolts. I get to put my hands on it. Software, you're just staring at a screen and tiddling with numbers and a little less entertaining. Yeah, now that I think about it, if they convert over some of their video switcher to ATEM, I've got some more options instead of using just NDI5 for their internal distribution. So I might see if they want to go that route. Yeah, the much bigger benefit for these people will be networkability on all their AV control gear in the BlackMagic space. Excuse me. All of it's controllable over the network now. The older gear that they've got does have Ethernet, but it doesn't have a lot of features as well, you know, as far as the control functions, unless you're using one of their big, you know, ATEM switchers and doing a bunch of stuff. But the newer ones are networkable. You can control record settings. You can do a bunch of stuff remotely. And in the case of the ATEM, you've got full digital remote control of it through an app, even a web interface. So they could do their video booth production from elsewhere, not have to be in the booth. Wouldn't like they do with that rolling panel that they've got now. And when I told them about that, they were like, "You can do that?" Oh yeah, hell yeah, man! You got full remote broadcast studios now. You can plug into that stuff from across the world. Hell, now that I think about it, even their cameras are already remote controllable. They've got a video system, pan, tilt, zoom, all that, you know, presets, multiple cameras for, you know, stage control, stage viewing. Anyway, that stuff's networkable. They're not using it that way. They're using it just local control right now, but they could have full remote control of their booth if they switched out that mixer. Home again, home again. I'm hungry. Let's see what my kids are doing. My son and my youngest daughter are at home. My middle daughter is visiting my sister for spring break in Dallas. My wife is at work, so it's just my son and my youngest at home right now. I don't know if they have gotten food yet. I'm going to find out because I'm hungry. I don't know what it's going to be. We had pizza the other day, no more pizza. Schlotsky's sounds good. That's what I'm going to get. Schlotsky's. Hey, the trash guys came. I'm going to get Schlotsky's, a deluxe original, and eat half of that monkey in one shot. I'll catch y'all later.